Hey everybody, it's John here with the Cloud Bureau, and today we have the first in a series of videos that we're doing on creating effective data dictionaries for your Salesforce org. The goal of this first video is to talk about one, what data dictionaries are, two, what they're useful for, and then three, to talk about the different things that we're going to look at over the course of this playlist or series of videos. So first things first, what are data dictionaries? They're basically what they sound like. Although I use the term data dictionary to mean two specific things in a Salesforce org. One, a list of the objects that are in use in your solution and definitions for those. And definition can mean descriptions and other metadata attributes that are applicable to objects in a Salesforce org. Now, I specifically mean in-use objects, and you might know that as a Salesforce subscriber, when you onboard a Salesforce org, it comes preloaded with a broad range of objects, but not all of those objects might be actively in use in your solution. So in our case, a data dictionary specifically refers to those in-use objects in your implementation. The second thing I use it to mean is a list of the fields on your in-use objects and definitions for those. And again, definitions comprise things like descriptions of the field and its context, as well as field metadata classification attributes like who is the data steward for that field or data attribute, what is its usage, and is it relevant to any particular compliance framework. And the goal is to have a data dictionary of fields for each of the in-use objects that appear in your object dictionary. Now, this is not a new phenomenon. Organizations have been producing data dictionaries for relational databases, of which Salesforce is an instance. For example, for a long, long time, a lot of times they're maintained in Excel, even up to this day. But happily, Salesforce gives us a lot of tools with which to produce live, on-demand data dictionaries in our Salesforce org using standard Salesforce reports. Now, it does require certain commitments to managing things like field descriptions and field classification metadata, and we're going to talk about that in this series of videos. The second thing that's worth covering is why data dictionaries are useful, and I would name a few things. One is that they are sort of the lowest hanging fruit in terms of a basic layer of data governance for your Salesforce org. It is incredibly important to know at any given time precisely which objects are a part of your solution and precisely which fields are a part of your solution. And data dictionaries in Salesforce, setting them up, can give you that live, immediate access to the answer to that question at any given time. There are also a broad range of audiences for whom data dictionaries are useful. They're useful to you as a subscriber, and particularly as an administrative or development team for your Salesforce org, because you know precisely what the shape of your solution is at any particular moment. And if you're thinking about extending your Salesforce solution, you know what unused fields are available to you and how to think about editing or updating or extending the application of a particular field or object based on how it's used. Now, they're also really important for external audiences who might be a part of your Salesforce program. These could include implementation partners or third-party consultancies or app exchange partners who want to understand when they come in to support you in your org precisely what is the shape. The same is true for internal audit, and having accurate, complete, up-to-date data dictionaries can be incredibly useful for internal audit purposes if your Salesforce org is in the scope of your audit program. So incredibly important for that. It's also an extremely useful artifact for things like integration planning and master data management implementation. So if you are integrating with another system, understanding what data attributes are available to be populated by that integration or to populate information in an external system via that integration. For master data management, it can be really useful to understand what is in your Salesforce org and actively in use so that you can understand, you can have a sort of conversation about whether a particular data attribute in Salesforce should function as the source of truth or record in your master data management framework for that attribute. I hope that convinces you that these are something that you should be thinking about in your Salesforce program. I certainly think that they're incredibly useful, and it's always something that I'm a proponent of whenever I'm working with an organization to sort of wrangle their Salesforce solution and get an understanding of what it is doing for them. Over the course of this series, We're going to do a few things. We're going to build brick by brick some data dictionaries, and I want to show you just as an example what that looks like. Now, here I'm in a Salesforce org, and this is a developer edition org. And I have two examples of data dictionaries. I'm going to hop over to my first tab first. And this first one is just simply a list of the in-use objects as a demonstration in this developer edition org. You'll see that it's things like account, contact, lead, opportunity, contract, task, event, other things of that nature. This is certainly not the full list of objects that are in this org, but it specifically focuses on the ones that we are using. The second report I would show you is an account field dictionary. And we see here that for the account object, we have a robust accounting of the fields on the account object that are active, as well as administrative. And I use administrative as a classification for those fields that might sit in the background or animate automation, but are not sort of consumed by end users. Fields that we might be in the process of deprecating, and then also standard fields that are simply not in use in the solution. Now, over the course of the series of videos, we're going to build these two precise reports that we're looking at, and here's how we're going to do it. The first thing we're going to do is look at approaches to field metadata classification attributes. And by those, I mean some of these items that are at the end of this report, including data owner ID, the data sensitivity level, and compliance categorization. So is it in the scope of a compliance framework? And we've also extended it to add integrations in which a particular field attribute is implicated. The other attribute that we're going to look at is simply field usage. And field usage is the way that we get to this scoped list of precisely those fields and objects that are in our org. So we'll talk a lot about that in the first video. The second video is going to talk about how to think about field management, both creating new fields as well as managing standard or existing fields with data dictionaries in mind. In the next video, we'll look at how to build the report we're looking at now, a field dictionary. We'll create a custom report type and then also spin out this sample account field dictionary. And in the last video, we'll look at how to produce the object dictionary that focuses in on precisely those objects that are in use in our implementation. We invite you to come along with us on this journey. It's worth saying at the outset that if you need help setting up data dictionaries or thinking about data governance and stewardship in your org, the Cloud Bureau is always here to help.